नमस्कार, सलाम, सत श्री अकाल, या लिबदत, गुड मॉर्निंग टू कैलगरी। आप सबका स्वागत है हमारे प्रोग्राम पॉलिटिक्स एनीवेयर एंड एवरीवेयर में। मैं आपका होस्ट, आपका दोस्त अमृत बराड़, आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं अपने इस प्रोग्राम में। आशा करता हूं आपका लास्ट वीक बहुत बढ़िया गया होगा, खुशियों से भरा गया होगा, सेहत से भरा गया होगा। अल्बर्टा एक बहुत ही बढ़िया प्रोविंस और दुनिया में सब लोग यहाँ पे आना चाहते हैं बसने के लिए। आज हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं हमारे ऑनरेबल प्रीमियर मिस्टर जेसन कैनी जी, और उनसे जानेंगे हम आज के 2021 के क्या चैलेंजेस रहे, क्या अचीवमेंट्स रही गवर्नमेंट की, और 2022 में क्या होने वाला है। आइए मिलकर स्वागत करते हैं हमारे अपने ऑनरेबल प्रीमियर मिस्टर जेसन कैनी जी का।
Thank you very much, Amrit.
So to start with, the new variant is again knocking doors everywhere in the world, and it has created a major, again, kind of fear in public's mind. There has been a few announcements which you made day before and yesterday, and things are getting in right place. But to start with, what is the major announcement or major things you want to say to all Albertans who will be listening to you, sir, now?
Yes, thanks so much, Amrit. Well, first of all, it's been a really difficult 22 months, of course. I want to thank everybody for the sacrifices that they have made to keep others safe and to protect our healthcare system. And it's unfortunate that we are ending 2021 with another variant of COVID-19, this one particularly contagious. But so far, early evidence suggests that it is much less severe than early variants. We still don't know, though, how much impact it could have on our healthcare system. So we're asking people to take great care, limit their social contact, most importantly, to get vaccinated, or if they've had 2 shots, get a booster vaccination. I'll be getting mine right after this interview. And we've been through this for 22 months, like the rest of the world. I think there's good reason to believe that this thing will move to endemic phase in the year ahead in 2022, and we can get on with our lives. And speaking of which, we should be grateful as we close this year for Alberta's strong economic recovery. We have been leading Canada in economic growth this year. We are projected to do so again next year. We've been leading in job growth, 170,000 net new jobs created in our province so far this year. And the economy taking off all across. For obviously, oil and gas prices are back, but we've had a record year in venture capital, high tech, information technology, digital industries, startups, film and television, in forestry and agriculture in many ways, as well as huge new investments coming forward in petrochemicals and hydrogen. So I think we are well set for renewing Alberta as the most prosperous province, as people can hopefully move here. I think that's happening. You probably have friends or relatives in Toronto and Vancouver, and they should check out the difference in real estate values. And I think if they do so, one of many good reasons to choose Alberta.
No, absolutely, sir. I totally agree with you. And I've been talking to other, ministers in the government, and I just spoke to Mr. Yasin day before, and he was also saying that things are. He is committed and under his portfolio to make Alberta the most best place, I can say, for the new immigrants, so that they can come and give their best whatever knowledge they have to Alberta.
Yes, we'll be launching more formally the Alberta Advantage Immigration Strategy this coming February at the Fairness for Newcomers Summit that we committed to in the last election. That summit will be bringing together newcomers, immigrants who have struggled to get their education, credentials, and experience recognized in Canada,
Right.
together with the professional regulatory bodies that are responsible for that recognition, and employers, to talk about how we can break down barriers to speed up the economic success of newcomers at their skill level. We don't want to waste anybody's talent or potential here. At the same time, we'll be launching the new Alberta Advantage immigration streams within the Immigrant Nominee Program, and promoting those heavily, as hopefully we can return to safe international travel next year, There will be many selected immigrants coming to Canada. We want to attract many of those to start new lives here in Alberta, contributing to our prosperity.
Absolutely, sir. Few things I just wanted to ask you. Few major announcements which were made in a couple of months. One was childcare benefits, and then there was like this recovery plan. What the government is doing for Alberta. We just wanted, because the South Asian community, there are a lot of people who don't have access to maybe the internet, or surfing through the different pages of internet, or the data which is provided. Can we have, this is a request from all of us from here, a single kind of page where there could be different heads, but at least they can go to a single page and find out about all the major things which are happening from the government and for them, so that they are able to look under one page and not just wander around the internet.
You mean on the, pardon me, do you mean, Amrit, on the issue of immigration in particular?
Anything which the government announces, sir. So, for example, the child care benefit, which was announced last month, it's a very
Okay.
big thing which is
Yeah,
happening. Yeah.
sure, sure. So people can go to Alberta.ca, that is the Government of Alberta website,
Right, sir.
and all of the recent announcements are there. The things are broken down: business and economy, education and training, health, etc. You can do an easy search, and I think it's quite user friendly. So Alberta.ca.
Okay. And do you have any idea, sir? We have in different languages, or it's just in English right now?
Well, we have information on, I think 16 languages
Perfect.
that's relevant to COVID, available on the Alberta.ca COVID pages.
Right.
So all the basic information about COVID's been translated. I think there might be a couple of other subjects that have multiple languages, but generally it's in English. Yeah.
Great, sir. Another topic or subject where I want your more views on it is the TV and film industry. Alberta is one of the most beautiful province in Canada, and if you talk about other parts of the world, we have such amazing Alps and such beautiful locations. But the film industry has been going to maybe British Columbia or Toronto because there were certain things which were in their benefit over there. Are we looking at some good benefits for the film industry, because Bollywood is dying to come over in Canada and they have a lot of projects which can be brought over here. So in coming 2022, when the restrictions are little okay and people can travel, are we looking forward to some good, some kind of drawbacks or some kind of benefits for the film industry if the film is shot or anything is shot in Alberta, sir?
Yes, so you're quite right, Amrit. Alberta has had an exciting uh, expansion, massive expansion of our creative film and television industry this year, because our government significantly, we created the Alberta Film and Television Tax Credit, and we expanded it. We lifted the cap on it. Under the previous government, it really only benefited small size productions, but we
Right, sir.
believed we needed to be competitive with jurisdictions around the world, various U.S. states and countries that offer fairly generous incentives for large-scale Hollywood-style productions. And by the way, I should say, Emirates, I hope some point in the future we'll also have Bollywood-style productions. In 2018, I traveled to India as leader of the opposition, met with many friends in business and government,
Right, sir.
and my colleague, the infrastructure minister, Prasad Panditji, was very closely connected with a couple of the top producers in Bollywood. We went and visited them and pitched them on Alberta as a magnificent location
Right,
for
sir.
future productions. You know, Bollywood's always looking for something more, something new and beautiful and spectacular and big scale. Well, I can't think of anything better than the Rocky Mountains. So we have
Absolutely.
gone from about $200 million a year to $1 billion a year in productions. We have had, I think, something like 30 major productions in Alberta this year. The biggest, most popular movie in the theaters right now is Ghostbusters. It was shot in southern Alberta. And the biggest film production in Canadian history is being done in our province now. It's called The Last of Us from HBO. It's about $160 million a year budget, or per episode, per series, and there's 3 years. So it's a huge production, lots of opportunity coming in that industry.
Absolutely, sir. And we look forward to that because, as you said, you also traveled to India. We have a lot of inquiries from there, and a lot of people want to make movies based on, like the scenery what we have and the way our the Alps are around our city, especially the Calgary, and it's one of the most scenic locations they can ever have. So everybody was looking forward to that, and I'm very sure in 2022 when the restrictions open, we will definitely invite all those people here and they can see what benefits they will be getting from the government also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for that, sir. Now, moving forward, sir, what you said about the recovery plan. Right now, we are struggling, and I heard yesterday that there are certain more, people who have lost their jobs due to this new variant and the sudden changes. They will be getting some benefits from the government. Can we have some update on that, sir?
Yeah, I think, look, we've brought in some additional public health measures, but tried very hard not to impact businesses and workers. But probably the biggest impact will maybe on major events, because we've said for venues that can accommodate over 1,000 people, they can only operate on 50% capacity. So that means, there's not a lot. I mean, things like NHL, Calgary Flames hockey game, and potentially big concerts and things like that will probably be most impacted. Now, most of those I think are kind of tend to be part-time jobs, and nevertheless, there are particularly federal benefits there that they announced yesterday to help with employers who are dealing with these capacity limits that have been brought in the past week by Alberta and a number of other provinces.
Absolutely, sir. We talk about the pandemic, sir, starting from last year, and now we are into second year. Things are not so good, and you and your whole team has been struggling a lot to, cope up with the situation. You've been taking a lot of criticism and a lot of other stuff. I don't understand. But as a human being, because in my show, I don't talk about the negative things, sir. We talk about the positivity. We talk about the good things which are happening with us and which are coming. So, just to sum up, sir, in
Good for you.
2021, what are the major achievements you think the government has done and that will continue towards 2022, please, sir?
Well, thank you, Amrit, and I appreciate your positivity. That's a very Alberta attitude. Part of the culture of this province is one of optimism, entrepreneurship, and hopefulness, and you personify that. So
Thanks.
there's more than enough negativity to go around. But you are right that it's been a very difficult time for the government I lead, the party I lead, because we have had to bring in reluctantly some extraordinary limit restrictions on people's basic freedoms of commerce, and limiting places of worship, uh, and at times suspending some certain kinds of businesses. It's been very, very difficult, and philosophically very hard for conservatives to do, because we believe in the value of freedom, of free enterprise, freedom of religion, all of these things that have been affected by necessary measures to avoid a catastrophe in our hospitals. And there are many freedom-loving Albertans who have been angry about public health measures. I understand that. I really I share that anger, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, we have to be mindful that our personal individual actions have social consequences, and that we must at all costs avoid a catastrophe where we cannot provide people care in the hospitals. I think most Albertans understand that. Now, politically, this has had an impact, as I say, on my party and government, because there has been a lot of polarization of extreme views here. A lot of people, for example, NDP in Alberta, who have wanted a kind of hard lockdown, forcing people to stay at home, shutting most businesses, closing places of worship, closing schools. And then on the other side, there are some people who wanted no restrictions. I don't think either of those options would be responsible, but there's a lot of criticism, noise, and anger emanating from the two extremes. And that's what we've had to cope with imperfectly. We haven't made all the right choices for sure, but we've done our best. I think, I hope to goodness that in 2022, we can finally, the world and Alberta, move past COVID and move on with our lives. And then we can go to the next election, having said that we promised, we did kept our promises. We did what we promised to do. We made 373 specific promises. We've already implemented about 86% of them. We're not even 3 years into this yet. And the most important thing was jobs, the economy, and pipelines. Well, we're leading in job growth, we're leading in economic growth, we're getting pipelines done. So I think we can present Albertans with a positive achievement and let them make the decision about who best to ensure strong economic growth and job creation in the future.
No, absolutely, sir. And like looking at the present scenario, I was there with you at McDougall Center in one of the meetings we had, and you said that when we came in power, we were not, we were not expecting this, and certain things you had to change and you had to, adapt, and which were not expected. And I think politicians are not magicians. They don't have a magic wand. They work with the people, they work with the things which are given to them and the powers what they have. Okay, from a normal person they have more powers, but still they are human beings. So I don't think it's, always talk about an activity. We should always think what can be done next, and we should be able to provide the feedback to the government too. That's why we have MLAs around us, so that we can give our and take our words to them, so that they can take that word to you, because they are the representatives who are there at the front face. But moving forward, I can say, sir, thank you so much for all you've been doing for us and for the Albertans. The last thing which I have to ask you is, do you think that, looking at other provinces, do we Albertans have a good module for fighting this COVID than other provinces at this moment?
Well, we thank you, Amrit, for all of that. So far, Alberta has a COVID death rate per capita per person that is lower than Canada's, much lower than the United States and Europe's. And I look at those jurisdictions because they're the most similar demographically. And so we've been hit hard, but we haven't been hit as hard as most other places around the world. And for that, we should be grateful. I'm especially grateful to just Albertans for being diligent and careful. We have tried to pursue a balanced approach. We've tried to use restrictions as a last and limited resort. And we're realistic about this. At the end of the day, it's the choices that individuals make which will determine the outcome. And this is a big free society, 4.5 million people. We are not the People's Republic of China. We are not going to put a police officer on every corner or weld people's doors shut in their apartment buildings. Uh, we are a free society, and so we provide measures which are kind of like parameters and a speed limit in terms of social interaction. We encourage people to get the vaccines without forcing them to. And ultimately, I think the vast majority of Albertans have exercised that freedom responsibly. Maybe a small minority hasn't. But I just call on people. I know they're tired of this. They're fatigued. They can't believe we're having to go through this one more time. I get it. But I just ask them, please pull together. Let us hope this is the one last time. Let us hope that this passes through the population very quickly, and with minor outcomes. Let's hope for that, and that it sets us up well for the future in terms of population immunity. We don't know that for sure, but for all of those people that are depressed or despairing about this, they need to know, like the Spanish flu in 1918, this will come to an end, and we will move on with our lives.
Absolutely, sir. I know you're very busy. There were so many things I had to talk, but thank you so much for your time today, sir. And before we end today's conversation, what is the message you want to give to all our listeners and viewers, sir? And last thing, sir, Merry Christmas to you and
Well,
all your team, your family, and everybody,
yes.
and Happy New Year, sir.
Uh, Thank you so much. Bahut धन्यवाद, बहुत शुक्रिया, शुक्रिया Amrit, to you and all of your viewers and listeners. Thank you for being a positive voice. Thank you for adding to the diversity of Canadian media voices. Thanks for being providing important, relevant information to your viewers. And I'd like to wish everybody, whether they're from the Christian tradition or not, a joyful celebration of Christmas. It is a celebration of hope, of light over darkness, at the darkest time of year. And it leads us into the new year, celebration of new beginnings and a time of renewal. So I hope that all of you will have a joyful and peaceful celebration over Christmas and New Year, and have a prosperous and healthy 2022. Bahut dhanavad, bahut shukriya. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, sir, and we'll see you again soon, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. तो ये थे हमारे Honorable Mr. Jason Kenney, Premier of Alberta. Again, हम बात करते हैं पॉजिटिविटी की, बात करते हैं आगे बढ़ने की. मैं हमेशा ही कहता हूँ कि पॉलिटिशियंस आर नॉट मैजिशियंस. ये एक ह्यूमन बीइंग ही हैं, लेकिन अगेन कुछ पावर्स हैं इनके पास जो इनको ज़्यादा चीज़ें करने पे, they are able to do that, take major decisions to run a province or but again आपके साथ यही मेरी गुजारिश है कि पॉजिटिव रहें, वैक्सीनेशन ज़रूर लगवाएं. जो थर्ड वेरिएंट है ये काफ़ी फैल रहा है, जो अभी न्यू वेरिएंट है. सॉरी, I'm little speechless because again 2021 का जो क्रिसमस है और न्यू ईयर है, अगेन हम घर में बैठ के मनाएंगे और रिस्ट्रिक्टेड रह के मनाएंगे. तो आइए मिलकर इस मुहिम को आगे बढ़ाएं और वैक्सीनेशन ज़रूर लगवाएं. बचाव में ही बचाव है, मैं यही कह सकता हूं. हमारी पूरी टीम की तरफ से आप सबको नववर्ष की शुभकामनाएं, और आप ऐसे हंसते रहें, मुस्कुराते रहें, और जो लोग भी क्रिसमस मनाते हैं उनके लिए मैरी क्रिसमस. 2022 जो वर्ष है आपके लिए सेहत से भरा हो, खुशियों से भरा हो, और आप ऐसे ही हंसते मुस्कुराते रहें. थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग दिस प्रोग्राम पॉलिटिक्स एनीवेयर एंड एवरीवेयर. मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट ईयर. थैंक यू.